I sold a house for $6.6 million here in Bonita Canyon just towards the end of last year, and just 2 doors down from that exact property just sold for over $7 million, setting a new community record. So I wanted to do a video for homeowners in Bonita Canyon that breaks down what exactly is happening in the market. In this video, we're going to analyze the Bonita Canyon market, but also the surrounding Newport Coast and also Newport Beach areas using the MLS search tools. First, we're going to look at the current active inventory to understand what buyers are competing with today. Then we'll review the recent sales and comparable properties to see where the market actually is trading and what comps essentially are what sellers are able to use as comps and what buyers should be paying attention to. So first, we're going to look at this map right here. This is going to be highlighting the selected areas of Bonita Canyon and also the surrounding area of Newport Beach and Newport Coast. And essentially the green markers represent just the current active listings. So this is going to give us a quick snapshot of the active inventory as of today, and I'm recording this video March 15th. So from here, we can see where the properties are, identify nearby homes that might serve as relevant comps for Bonita Canyon, but also just to see what buyers are doing. And you might wonder, why are we going to look at areas like the Port Streets if so many of these homes are custom homes and might not be direct comps for Bonita Canyon? Well, the reason why we want to look at it is because it still helps us understand the broader buyer pool and price ceiling in the area that buyers are actually paying for properties, because they're looking in areas like Bonita Canyon, Newport Ridge North. They're also considering nearby neighborhoods like Port Streets and essentially even Turtle Ridge, quite frankly. So while we may not be able to use these custom homes as direct comps, they help us see where the buyers might go if prices move too high or where other homes are priced similarly, basically seeing where the value starts to look more attractive by comparison. So even though they might not be comparable as comps, they're definitely still going to serve as competition to your house. So that's why we still want to look at these other surrounding areas. So looking at the overall market statistics, we have 33 properties in the search area with 31 currently active and 2 coming soon. So essentially the prices are ranging from $2.9 million all the way up to $22 million, with a median list price around $6.25 million. So that being said, it is important to note that homes that are roughly about $8 million and above typically will fall out of the Bonita Canyon buyer pool. And some of the higher end sales, especially in the Port Streets, they're fully custom, as I mentioned, so they're not going to serve as direct comps. We just still want to see what buyers are paying and what the competition is nearby, especially given the fact that Port Streets are a street over. They're super close. So if we look at homes that are currently active, under contract or pending, this definitely will help give us a better sense to where buyers are currently writing offers right now, in the sense of what price point. Now, we aren't able to see exactly where the homes are going to end up with the final amount because everything is negotiable, but there are definitely 9 properties in escrow. 4 of them are under contract, 5 of them are pending. These homes range from $3.7 million all the way up to nearly $13 million, with a median price around $4.8 million. So definitely much more aligned with Bonita Canyon as far as price range. But again, we want to filter out the higher end custom markets. We just want to see what the buyer demand currently is and what is moving and what's not. If we were to look at the current recent sales nearby, this definitely will give us the strongest indicator for real market value, because we don't want to necessarily look at what's active. We want to look at what has actually been sold, what buyers are actually paying for homes. And in this data set, there's 62 closed transactions with sale prices averaging about $5.1 million and a median price around $4.8 million. So most of these homes sold at about 97 to 98% of the list price, suggesting relatively strong pricing. And again, we want to focus on homes that are going to be the most comparable to Bonita Canyon and filter out the larger custom properties in nearby communities when identifying the most relevant comps. But it is still good to see that there's homes that are moving even in higher price points. So if we're to specifically look at Bonita Canyon, there are currently 4 active listings in the neighborhood, and prices range about $4.45 million to about $6.66, with an average list around $5.5 million and a median just under $5.5 million as well. So, I mean, for Bonita Canyon, you also have the gated community, you have great amenities, and there's other
attractive aspects about the community, given the location to the beach, to the freeways, to everything, great schools, and so on. So if we were to look at the buyer activity in Bonita Canyon itself, we currently have one home that is under contract. This one was listed at 4.3 million, and it was offering, or it is, sorry, about 2950 square feet on a 6,465 square foot lot. So it is important to see this as a much smaller property, but even that's still trading at the low to mid 4 million, still attracting strong interest, which is great. Now, if we're to look at Bonita Canyon as a whole, Bonita Canyon has different properties and there's different streets that hold a lot more value than others. And one of those being Boardwalk. Now, this is definitely where things get very interesting in Bonita Canyon. Well, much of the neighborhood trades around 4 to 6 million. There are certain streets, like I mentioned, particularly Boardwalk and a few other select locations that have pushed well beyond that price range. I personally sold a house on Boardwalk for 6.6 million last year, and a house 2 doors down just sold for $7.445 million. And a couple of years back, the house right next to the house that I sold for 6.995, and I believe that was 2023 if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, homes on Boardwalk specifically are trading for anywhere from 6.6 now. Honestly, anything on Boardwalk is most likely going to go for around 7.2 to about 7.6, potentially even higher. So there's a lot of demand for Boardwalk specifically for various of reasons. So if we're to take a look at the closed sales, again, you do have a much higher price range, especially even in comparison to other homes that sold recently or currently on the market that might not have the privacy, might be on a corner lot or anything like that. So your location in Bonita Canyon is definitely going to indicate where you should price, because if you're on Boardwalk, I mean, you have more leverage. So the fact that there is a house 9 Boardwalk that just sold for $7.445 million, that sets a new ceiling, and other homes around the area are selling for about that. Even some of the custom homes that, again, we can't use as comps, it just shows that buyers for the right property are willing to spend that amount. One question that often comes up is, why are homes on Boardwalk selling for more than other parts of Bonita Canyon? Well, the biggest reason is location. Boardwalk sits more towards the interior of the neighborhood, away from the main road, but at the same time, you have less traffic, less noise, and you also have more privacy. There's a lot of character, especially the home that just sold for 7.445. I mean, that property had a lot of character. So at the same time, you're sitting on premier lots, definitely a lot more private. You have no one behind you, which buyers definitely value, and there's fewer homes coming to sale. So the fact that these sales are setting the benchmark for future listings and sale pricing, I definitely could see, especially homes on Boardwalk, continuing to push that ceiling even higher, give or take, or at least sell for above 7.2 to about 7.5 for the next year, give or take. So, I mean, if you're in Bonita Canyon, it definitely is going to vary depending on where you're at. But again, if we're to look at what is currently active, the home prices definitely are going to be 4.45 to 6.66 and change. The medium is going to be right around 5.5 million. But if you look at certain streets, like I mentioned, there's a house that just sold for $7,445,000. So if you're curious to what your house would sell for, go ahead and contact me directly at 949-405-4455. We'll love to be able to sit down and actually see your house and determine where you should properly and realistically be priced, so that way you could get the best price for your property, but also sell in the best time frame and not sit on the market overpriced, stale.